So, it's a little blinding up here. Hang on a second. Let me get my sight back. Okay. So last year, the Charlotte Hug Group actually won the contest for taking people to Inbound. In Inbound 14, I think we had 40-some people in our group that registered, and we got upgraded to VIP passes last year. Are they going to turn the music down a little? Can you turn that down? Okay.
I did just ask her to do it, and she seemed to be going off to do it.
Okay, great. So anyway, this year I was wondering about if we're going to have the same contest or whatever, and I found out last week that we do have a very similar contest, and I think you'll like it. It's not the same as last year. It's not a VIP pass, but if we get more than 25 people from Charlotte to register and go to Inbound together, we all get free drinks in the lounges, and we get preferred seating at all the keynotes up front like last year. And I was thinking about the VIP passes last year and what we really liked about it. I don't think too many of us hung out in that VIP lounge because it was like a 3-mile walk to get there. But I think we all really enjoyed walking into the keynote, right on time and walking straight to the front ahead of everybody and sitting ourselves down there with a good view. So how many of you guys are already registered to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you going?
Probably.
7, 8, 9, 10.
We'll take that halfway there. That's good.
So yeah, okay. If you've already registered, so in order to get this, we have a specific code that you have to use when you register. And Kim and I will send out an email this week that has that code in it. Okay, and we'll put it on the website for us as well, and probably the LinkedIn group. But if you've already registered, send me an email with your name and your email address that you used to register, and we'll get Sarah to go ahead and give you account for you on our list on our team, and hopefully we can get to 25 easily, since last year we had 40-some, and I'll get to sit in the front again. Have you heard who the speakers are this year?
One they just announced today.
Well, Seth Godin's always a good show, and I know he's one of the keynotes.
Seth Godin. The one they announced today is Brené Brown. Brené Brown. She wrote Daring Greatly. Have you guys read her? She's like up there with Elizabeth Gilbert. She is awesome. She wrote the Daring Greatly book. And who's the brand that took her Daring Greatly hashtag and stole it from her? One of the car, not GM, but one of the car dealers, I think. I can't remember. Volkswagen, maybe. Yeah, but she's awesome. And I think they'll be announcing additional keynotes in the next month or two. So that's coming up, and we'll send you the code to get registered for that. We have a birthday in the Hug group here. We decided this year that we're going to celebrate birthdays of our members. I know, Randy's surprised.
I am.
We've the past couple of months, what usually happens though is that the people who have birthdays, they don't show up in their birthday month. and so today we have one person on our birthday list for March that's here. And so Chuck, we'd like for you to come get your happy birthday badge. Happy birthday. Chuck also probably tonight, I could be wrong, but I think he probably gets the award for driving the furthest to get here. So he routinely and consistently travels a good hour or two trip to come to our Hug group and participate. He's very active in our group. So thank you, Chuck. It's good to see you.
Happy birthday.
Next month, our speaker is going to be Heather Head. Anybody know Heather?
Mm-hmm.
She's, have you ever seen her speak? So one day about 6 weeks ago, she had to speak, and she decided that she wanted to do something a little off color, pun intended, for her speaking engagement. And so she went with a theme called the ocean is blue, and she dyed her hair blue for the presentation. I hear it was a hit. I've seen some video. I'm really excited to hear Heather speak next month because she is clever and witty and funny and a great writer. And just watching her is very entertaining, and she's very smart. So next month, the date for next month is May 14, I believe. And so go ahead and get registered for that and plan to come hear Heather speak. And we may even, that's the week we're going to have a guest here from India from our Puma India team as well, so that'll be exciting.
Oh my.
I know, right? Okay, so that's all I have because I want to pass this over to Randy. And last month I told you a little bit about Randy. One of the things that I've noticed from the very, very, very first time that I met Randy is that he is very analytical. He understands Google's algorithm probably better than they do. And every time I listen to him, I learn something. And he's not the marketing fluff guy. He's the guy with with the real data behind it. So I'm really excited, Randy, to hear you. I wouldn't have missed this.
Okay.
It's all you.
Well, thank you.
You need anything?
Nope, I'm good. All right. Just to make sure I don't need the microphone, can everyone hear me A-okay? Not microphone checked? Excellent. All right. So my name is Randy Aimone, and we're going to be talking about the path of local search, or the how, when, and why, where matters. Go on. And clicky. All right, clicks work. All right. So this is me, Randy Aimone. And quick bio is my background is in cognitive psychology, and that's what they called user interface, user design, before UX, UI became terms, and which kind of says just how old I am, which is kind of disturbing. We're going to move on from there. My MBA is in marketing and entrepreneurship, and those work really well together at times. And what I do for fun, I play tabletop games like Settlers of Catan is one of my all-time favorites. I take martial arts to stay in some sort of shape that's not round, and I love riding roller coasters. I've taught classes at Marist College, Framingham State, currently teach at CPCC, and I've gotten the opportunity to teach a class as a sub at MIT, which is pretty cool. And I first became a HubSpot reseller in 2009, way before their reseller program became anything worth mentioning, which is why I stopped being a reseller quickly. This is my friend Kay, and what the following presentation is about is kind of relating the ups and sometimes the shortened version, sometimes the elongated version of a conversation I had with her about a month ago about local search engine optimization. Now, Kay is a parallel entrepreneur, meaning she has at least 4 businesses. She's 23 years old. She's has more energy than almost anyone else in the room. Oh, hi. And but she runs an Oriental grocery store and a local anime trading company gift store. Now, both of those are extremely localized businesses, and she's down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Now, here's what she knows. 43% of website traffic is local. And that's a 2014 statistic, and that is rapidly increasing. If you look at the stat from 2012, it was about 32% of searches were local in nature. As more people have more mobile devices, and as more people are using Google as a pure replacement for those old-fashioned things called yellow pages and similar, that local number is skyrocketing, and it's actually not slowing down. She knows that most of her traffic comes from local searches. People don't drive to Spartanburg for, if they can avoid it. Did I say that? They don't drive to Spartanburg. It's not a major tourist destination in general. She also knows because of that, she doesn't need a large national audience. Nobody cares if they're more than about an hour away about her stores, and she knows that, and she recognizes that. And here's the thing. Local searches are local buyers. So if someone's searching for you local, they're looking for a local source, they're looking for a local provider, and that means they're probably going to buy something from someone that's local if they can get it local. Here's what else she knows. As I said, she's a parallel entrepreneur. She does not have time to run a full-fledged SEO campaign, and she has her money in a whole bunch of different sources, and she's not dumping it to pay someone else to do a full-blown SEO, blogs, the works SEO campaign for her. And it doesn't make sense for her to do that either. So but she also knows she needs to fix that, because not doing anything isn't an option either. So, how to do local search engine optimization. First off, local citations matter. And local citations are, if everyone's familiar with basic link building, the links that you get from websites are rated from 0 to 10, a 10 being infinitely more useful than a, say, 2. Just like the Richter scale in an earthquake, 5 is going to knock over some garbage cans, 6 is going to knock over some small bridges. Same difference in scale. The type, however, is different, and this throws some people off, because when you're looking at global search engine optimization, you're looking for 6s, 7s, 8s that will really move the scale for links back to your website. For local optimization, it's different. For local optimization, you're looking more for links that come from local sources, because it reinforces that you're a local business, and those are easier links to get. Links from the Chamber of Commerce, from BNI and other networking organizations, links from your suppliers, from your vendors, especially if they're local and you resell their products. Links from any youth groups you support, links from local churches that you might support. Those are all incredibly good for local search engine optimization, and yet for global search engine optimization, almost all of those sources are of, at best, marginal use. And the final one that I'm going to mention is local review sites. We're going to get there, but those are things that you absolutely have complete control over owning, maintaining, setting up, and getting links to. And if you're not doing that, that's foolish. I'd like you to slap yourself and then start doing it. Primary takeaway there is the locality for local search, the locality of links matters far more than the quality of those links. And that's exactly reversed from global search engine optimization. Why? I want to spend a second talking about that why, though. Local search is a lot of things that both Google and Bing have done make it possible for a local provider to compete in the rankings. And so a lot of things are actually made simpler than they could be. And that's actually a good thing if you're a local business or if you're helping a local business, because you don't need to spend a ridiculous amount of time, energy, effort to do good enough to get ranked. And that's a huge difference. Blogging. A lot of people in the traditional search engine optimization world know that blogging is the #1 best, absolutely got-to-do-it way to get quality links, to build quality content about your website. To make it pop, to make it work, to show traffic, you got to blog. That is absolutely important. And Kay runs 4 or more businesses. I know about 4 of them. And plus she likes to travel and have lots of fun. She is 23. She doesn't have time to blog. And she doesn't really want a budget to pay someone to blog about everything that she does. So you know what her answer was? Yeah, blogging, not going to happen. And you know what? For local search, and really, who does have time in a local business, your groceries, your lawyers, anyone who has a local search business, who really has time for that? The answer is nobody to get it done well. And here's the great news about blogging for local search. Not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter much. If you have a client who will commit to blogging 6 times a year, great, you win. If you're only willing to and able to blog a couple of times a year, you're good. What's more important for local search is your social media activity. And whereas for global search, it matters, but not nearly as much. If you are running and optimizing a local business, you want search, social media interactivity, you want movement, you want action on local networks, social media networks, your Twitters, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. That's what they're looking for strong social signals that you're being socially active. And that is your blogging for a local search.
I got a question for you on that.
Yes, sir.
What about just posting your blogs to the social media?
Great. I love repurposed content. Reuse, reuse, recycle. I'm a big fan of that. So if you are blogging and you have the time to make a blog, you absolutely should reuse that content, repurpose it for social media, and get the traffic moving that way. That is absolutely a best practice. Did that address your question?
Yeah.
Next, sometimes we all need a nap. And napping is extremely important and for local search as well. So, what is the nap? Naps are your name, your address, and your phone number. One thing that is vitally important for both Bing and Google is that they are looking for consistent nap results. If your phone number varies, if your address varies, if the name of your business varies, if you have 3 or 4 businesses at the same location, that's not good. You want a slightly different address for each one of those, and that is your NAP, name, address, phone number. Now, if you're a local business and you need local traffic, never use an 800 number. I don't care how big you think you're being. If you're using an 800 number, Google makes the assumption you're looking for national traffic and prefers not to list you as a local business because you're being, you're far too busy for this little local traffic stuff. You're looking for exact street addresses. And yes, CT is not the same as court. You want to make sure that it's either abbreviated CT or spelled out court or street, etc., everywhere. If you're an Inc. or an LLC or something similar, always add the Inc., LLC, or never add the Inc. or LLC. Always important, always consistent. Consistency matters a lot. The more discrepancies that are found on any citation site, any place that has a link to you as a citation, the less credible you seem to Google and Bing. And why would Google or Bing want to send someone to a less than credible place? The answer is they would not. So make it easy. And finally, on the topic of napping, make sure that your name, address, phone number is clearly, obviously placed, usually in the upper right-hand corner and or at the bottom of the page, on every page of your website, so that Google does not need to look long, hard, and to fuss out through an image. It doesn't need to go through our Contact Us. But my address is on the Contact Us page. Yeah, if someone's looking at your website locally, usually on a mobile device, they want to know where you're located really fast. And that usually is on the home page. Make it easy, and the easier you make it for Google and Bing, the more they help you out by giving you better rankings. Reviews. So if you shouldn't necessarily do blogging for local search engine optimization, well, what is the replacement for that? It's reviews. And reviews are not written by you, which is good if you're a time-pressed small business owner and running a local business, because you've just outsourced all the work to other people. What you do need to do is to get other people to write reviews about your business, to talk about your business, to say hopefully good things about the business. However, even a bad review at the very least tells Google and Bing that you're still alive and that your business is still in business. However, yes, a 5-star review helps you a lot more than like a 1-star review, which tends to push you down in the rankings. Reviews are a strong social signal, and this is where you need to start using a little bit of psychology of, hey, you should give us a review. A story that I ran into a couple of weeks ago, and a great victory is there's a local meetup group that met at a coffee house and for every month. And a couple of people were really irate that this weird group that they never heard of before, because they meet there once a month, and they had posted it on the calendar a month ago, had reserved 2/3 of the coffee shop, and they gave them a 1-star review. So what did the coffee shop do? They reached out to that group and said, hey, help, we just got a 1-star review that totally trashed us. So the 2,000 members of this local meetup group, I think, posted about 70 reviews in the matter of the next 3 days, and that had really significant boosting of their rating on both Google reviews and Yelp reviews, a combination of. And that incredibly boosted their rating almost to the level of the Starbucks, where they were harder to find before that. And frankly, it's a cooler coffee house than Starbucks anyway. I left my review. Trickery and deceit. While fun, Kay had asked, hey, is there a way that we can just game the system a little bit? And the answer is, there's always ways to game the system. The trick is, when are you going to get caught? And the penalty, of course, for getting caught on trickery and deceit is that your site gets dropped altogether from the index. So the only way that someone can find your website is if they go directly to the URL and type your website. This has notable effects on your local traffic, as you might imagine. Keyword, 2 examples that people often try and that are really foolish is keyword stuffing. For example, if you're trying to own the keyword white, this is a perfect example of what not to do, and is keyword stuffing, because you will briefly own the keyword white, and then very shortly thereafter, the spiders will go, oh, this is ridiculous, and get you the heck off of the search altogether. Another fun tactic that people think that they're outsmarting the engineers at Google and Bing with is trying to start multiple fake businesses to push other businesses down in the rankings. You have to be very, very clever to do this correctly, and probably, no matter how clever you are, you're not being clever enough. You will probably get caught at some point for either having a business that doesn't actually exist, or by running multiple businesses out of the same address. And what happens when they can't decide what the real business is? All businesses drop off, including your main one that you actually want to rank for. Oops. Don't do that. Have I seen that happen? Yes, I have. The bottom line is, Google and Bing have seen that trick before. Yes, I know you think it's clever. Yes, it probably is. And yes, they've seen it before. And yes, you're going to get your hand slapped, if you're lucky. Don't do it. So our conversation with Kay then goes, well, does proximity matter? Do I need to optimize for all the local towns nearby? And the answer a couple of years ago is yes, you did. The answer today is no, you absolutely do not. Both Google and Bing are very well integrated with their mapping programs so that they are able to tell, and they show the closest 7 to 10 results, depending on a few other factors, on who's closest. So it doesn't matter much. Doesn't matter much if you optimize for a specific town, a specific city, a specific village. It used to matter a lot more than it does today. So should you spend much time, energy, or effort optimizing for it? Not really. If you get some reviews from people who mention that they're from those adjacent towns and those adjacent neighborhoods, wonderful. That's all the SEO that you should put into it.
What about going from like a small town like Huntersville or Davidson when you really want to pull business out of Charlotte?
Well,
Doesn't matter.
if you are,
Optimize for one or the other and make sure it's consistent.
if you want to have a consistent, the question was, well, if I want to pull from a couple of neighboring towns, and the answer is, if you are, Google knows where you are, and if you are the best ranked for local results, where you are, you will show up in that top 7 result in the mapping results. So if you are in an adjacent town to a major city, for example, Huntersville to Charlotte, you want to optimize for Huntersville and Google and Bing are both smart enough to know that that's a suburb of Charlotte and that you may well be one of the best sources anyway. Does that address your question?
Absolutely.
Your business is automatically long tail. What does that mean? That means that your business, as a local business, is already special, unique, in a relatively small competition area because there's only so many plumbers in all of Charlotte. There's only so many carpenters in all of Boston. And while there may be some overlap there, there are fewer options altogether. Now, this is why unique content matters, because not every business should ever be the same. You should be interesting. You should be remarkable as a local business. And if you're not interesting or remarkable as a local business, you should have just bought a franchise and moved on. And yes, Google and Bing both know what franchises are and that you have the same content more or less nationwide or internationally. Now, here's a fun trick that a couple of friends of mine who run a company called the Brothers Just Do Gutters did. They noticed that they're obviously a gutter company. They just do gutters, actually. It's in the name. What they had noticed is that a lot of local gutter companies, both locally and neighboring regions, started stealing their content because it was really well written, especially for a gutter company, let's face it. And what they had noticed, and no one else did, is that Google and Bing picked up that they wrote the content years and months ahead of everyone else, and they started punishing everyone else from stealing their content because they weren't those other companies were too lazy to write their own stuff and too lazy to say why they're unique, why they're special, why they're interesting, why they're worth possibly visiting. So whenever they'd meet, they'd say, I don't know why it's not working for you, clearly knowing that that guy was stealing his content, sometimes word for word, sometimes 80%. If you're not embracing who you are as a small business, what makes you special, interesting, and relevant, and writing about that and talking about it, then you're a lot less interesting to the local search engines, because why would they want to send anyone, to a boring business? I don't want to go to a boring business. I got better things to do than that. Said again, if you can't tell me why your coffee shop is better than Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, I'm going to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. Easy as that. Another element is interactivity. If both Google and Bing, and this is more so true for local websites than for national in many ways as a ranking factor, they're looking for interactivity. They're looking for people to spend time. They're looking for people to click around, to enter information in. If your website isn't interactive and doesn't invite people to read it, click around it, use it, then Google makes the assumption that they made the mistake of sending someone to your website, and so they won't repeat that mistake. And that is bad for traffic. So make sure you have places that folks can put in the email addresses, put in social media links. Maybe you have a menu or recipes. Even if it's curated content, that's still quality content that someone might want to browse through and read through. If your website takes reservations for a restaurant, that's a huge perk. Google and Bing can watch the interactivity happen and say, oh, okay, we sent someone to the right site. This is a good thing. And chat boxes can also be useful because they're also proof of interactivity. Said differently, more clicks are more good. So at the end of the conversation, my friend Kay and I realized, yes, even without spending a ton of time, energy, and money, you can have a fighting chance against the big guys in search engine optimization. You just have to be a little smarter about how you do it. With that, there's questions, comments, jokes, and recipes. Thank you.
Okay, guys, questions? Jokes?
Okay.
Come on, somebody's got a joke.
How do you feel about AdWords and AdWord campaign and PPC and all that?
My personal practice with pay-per-click campaigns on specifically in Google and to a lesser extent on Bing is that it's a great way to try out keywords. It's a great way to test ideas on, is this landing page converting, and while I'm paying attention to it. It's a great way to test, like, I think I can get traffic for this keyword. Is it convertible traffic? Is this traffic that will result in leads that are worth following up with, or is it just going to produce traffic that will not produce leads? So it becomes a great way to experiment. In terms of actually making much money from pay-per-click, you have to have a lot of experience, be extremely good with it, and be extremely observant on a regular basis, because I've seen campaigns blow up and be blown apart within hours. So if you're not checking it a couple of times a day, it's extremely dangerous. Yes, I know you think you put all the safeguards in place. It's extremely dangerous. I've watched those campaigns blow up. And when we measure return on investment on most of those campaigns, it's worth it if you consider it from a learning perspective, but there's enough people who are really, really good at it, who spend a lot of time at it, that the easy wins, for the most part, in my experience, have been totally taken. Doesn't mean there's none, but if you consider a learning tool, you're good. Not a profitable tool. That's my opinion only.
I find that on AdWords, and I mean, I sell against them. I sell AdWord campaigns, I have pay-per-click campaigns, but I also sell against them. So I'm like, we got a better product now. But I find the younger generation also thinks, I'm going to get tracked if I click on that. So younger people, if you're under 30, they tend to they don't even want to touch those, because they think if I click on that thing, I'm being tracked after that.
There's a lot of age groups that stay away from them, yeah.
And so it's,
Will you repeat his
get
question?
urgent.
Yeah, Mike, you had pretty much said that there's a lot of groups that avoid AdWords altogether, especially under 30.
Yeah.
Other questions, comments, jokes, or recipes?
I have a comment /
Yeah.
question. So the topic of SEO, at least in my experience, has been something that it sounds easier than it really is. And looking at your slides and the name, address, phone number, and the being consistent, and the directories, and it sounds very easy. But has anybody had a successful experience, like organically do your own, like you did it well and it worked and it took off? I mean, that's where I see, the most small businesses like sit down and try it, and they don't know what you know, and it's more challenging. They don't know the intuitive things that you know.
Yes.
Is that the case? Is that it requires a little more expertise to
It requires.
tweak it and get it just right?
It does require a fair amount of expertise to tweak it, even when you're using the tools that are out there. My observation is that requires the tools, whether you're using HubSpot, whether you're using Yext, whether you're using any Moz tools. You have to have experience and knowledge to do it more than adequately. I have watched some local businesses that have gotten decent results doing it themselves, but there's also the element of how much time, energy, and effort have they put into doing it themselves, and would that be better spent actually making money? That I have a hard time determining. Yeah. But in most cases, the folks I've talked to who did a good job of doing it themselves probably would have still come out better financially had they paid someone to get it done.
Yeah, so when I look at my business, for example, I'm not going to try to do my taxes on my own because I'm not a financial expert, right? I'm going to hire a CPA to do that. I'm not going to try to fight my own legal battles because I'm not an attorney. I'm going to hire an expert to do that. Do you feel like this is something that, to some extent, some business owners with some knowledge could take on, or is that something that you would recommend, hey, get someone who knows what they're doing, save yourself the headache? Where would you fall in that, which side of the equation do you fit there?
there's a lot, like taxes and like legal. If you really spend a lot of time learning yourself, but you should kind of think of it as, do I really want to save $1,000, $2,000 doing my own taxes this year? Risk making a horrible mistake, because I've never cleaned up horrible mistakes. Oh wait, yes I have. and you also, yes, you'll have that knowledge, but it's probably not worth it unless that's something that you genuinely are interested in being hands-on with. So in most cases, there's a reason why most companies do outsource the search engine optimization for a reason. And you probably want to talk to a couple of different companies, because how they do it is radically different. And no, the company that's willing to do it from, we'll call it overseas, probably isn't using modern methods at all, and often is using techniques that are about 10 years old. And it's not that, oh wait, yes, I see that every day. So be careful when you're using a cut rate provider, especially, and understand what you're looking at.
And Nitro, did you have a question?
Actually asked the question that I was going to ask. My thing was, do you think that companies need to just hire an SEO specialist? Because a lot of times you have business owners who think they understand SEO and think that they have the time to optimize their site, and they really don't. It's a little bit more.
Can you do me a favor? Can you stand a little closer and you can speak a little louder, because I'm hearing almost nothing.
What I was saying was, she had asked the question that I wanted to ask was that, do you think that companies should just have an SEO specialist instead of a business owner just saying, well, I understand this and that, and then trying it and then failing because they don't have someone dedicated to optimizing their site?
Yes. In terms of, okay, tell me if I think I got this question correct. A lot of companies try and fail and then decide that it doesn't work because they tried doing it themselves and it didn't work. There's a lot of moving.
Like, let's just say a startup marketing firm who doesn't have a large staff. They're trying to do it themselves, maybe the owner and two other people, whatever have you, and they're just not getting the results that they need because this is a bigger animal than people really understand.
And we see that a lot in internet marketing in general. And if there's one major component that I'm sure, Rachel, you can talk to this just as smart and possibly smarter than I can. It's a team-based approach in order to get internet marketing to work well. I only know a handful of people who can actually run top to bottom a full internet marketing campaign well, where they understand from the search engine optimization, the psychology of conversions, how to get those people converted to sales-ready leads. That's a team approach. You need graphic designers, you need copywriters, you need copy editors, you need strategic marketing, you need search engine optimization expertise, you need some of that expertise in blogging, you need social media expertise, which is different altogether as a different animal, and some of the interactivity. You probably need some background in pay-per-click so that you can test accurately and quickly, and you need to have all of those people either in one head, which will probably drive someone insane, or, because that's a lot of voices in your head, or you need a lot of different people working close to at hand, side by side with each other, to get it all done. And so when I see a solopreneur or a two-person business trying to do a full inbound media campaign and failing, it doesn't surprise me. As a matter of fact, that's the expectation, and that is one of the reasons why HubSpot had recognized that the VAR partners actually have much better success than smaller individual companies do at running HubSpot campaigns. Does that address your question?
I just needed that clarification for myself because I thought that I was right about it, but I think I met some other people.
Oh, good.
You need a team.
Sure.
Mostly you talked about local searches. How about if you're a small company and you're looking for a national audience? Is there anything uniquely different?
Yes, that's a totally different presentation. I will start over from the beginning about about international global SEO. The big distinction between local and national, and I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one, but that is an entirely different set of presentations, I think. What I highlighted is the main differences between what you need to focus on if you're looking at local only and versus global. So definitely do almost you can take the inverse of this. If you look at, yes, blogging is the most important thing that you can do after you've done your proper keyword research and you know what to target. And you need to spend a lot more time on, well, I could go right through the slide deck actually, and do the reverse. These are the most important differences to keep in mind if you only care about a local campaign. Does that address your question? Somewhat?
Any other questions? I just want to summarize a little bit by saying that you know, the team approach that Randy talked about is the integration, right? And SEO is this sliver of the integrated marketing campaign and knowing, you know, lead conversion strategy and how it all kind of fits together. But I think it's very important that regardless of whether you try to do it yourself or you hire somebody to do it or however that works out, knowing some of the basics that Randy showed us, the nav and the consistency and, you know, the local directories and all that kind of stuff, having that basic understanding is necessary either way, right? So Randy, thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
With us. We appreciate it. It was fantastic, and thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.